Hi everyone. Thanks for joining. We're just going to give it a minute or two more as people join, and then we'll go ahead and get started. We'll just give it about one more minute, and then we'll get started, everyone. Thanks again for joining us. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. So, thank you everyone for joining and taking the time today, uh, in joining us for the Bright Ideas competition and this informational webinar. We'll probably presentation will probably take about 20 minutes or so. We'll then look to open it up to the floor if anyone has any questions or comments or concerns regarding any of the material or the guidelines for the competition. So definitely we'll look to maybe hold questions until the end, but definitely feel free to raise your hand once we're finished the presentation or to provide any questions or clarifications in the chat, and we'll make sure to get through them all. So again, thanks for everyone for joining. My name is Tice McMahon. I am a board member for the Economic Developers Councils of Ontario. I'm also one of the co-chairs of the Bright Ideas competition, and then I'm joined with Julia here on the call as well, who's our co-chair, who's my co-chair for the Bright Ideas competition. We also have Stephanie, who's the executive director of ECHO, as well as Laura, who joins us from ECHO as well. So we'll go ahead and get started. Julia and I are going to split the presentation here. So Julia will take the first bit of the presentation with me with the second half. And again, welcome everyone. The Bright Ideas competition is a great opportunity to expand your network, gain exposure, and really refine your ideas as an economic development professional. I know I participated in the first Bright Idea competition. I want to say back in 2019, so it's been some time. But being a graduate of that program, as well as being part of the committee and now the board, I can definitely attest to the value that this competition provides for not just yourself as you grow in your profession, but also when it comes to the connections and the network and the individuals that you meet in this space across Ontario. So I'll pass it over to Julia to take some of these slides from here.
Thanks, Tyson. Good afternoon, everyone. And as Tyson mentioned, my name is Julia Cholfi. I am the Economic Development Officer with the City of Welland in the Niagara region and co-chair for this year's Bright Ideas Committee. Thank you all for being here to hear about the competition today. Like Tyson, I also participated in the competition. I participated in 2024. I found it really valuable, not just for the projects that were worked on and the people that we collaborated with, but the relationships and economic development across Ontario were really something that built up and have continued on through my career since then. So let's jump into the presentation and give you the information on the competition ahead of getting into the questions. So What is the Bright Ideas Competition? It's an accredited annual idea competition for economic development practitioners from all experience levels across Ontario to participate in. It's designed to identify an opportunity or a problem within economic development, and then develop a modern response to proposed topics. Your work is evaluated by subject matter experts in the industry, and you also receive 5 professional certification points towards your designation. Given the current geopolitical landscape, the technological trends, and the social workforce issues that we're facing as economic developers and our businesses are facing, the Bright Ideas Competition gives you, along with your team, a really strong runway to tackle issues of your choosing, to conduct research, and to share the outcome, which is a practical tool or solution that can be applied across economic development in rural, urban communities in Ontario. The competition is structured with all participants being placed in teams, and provides the opportunity to build your network. And then successful projects will be presenters in front of a room of your active peers. So a really fantastic opportunity to grow professionally. If we go to the next slide, please. Participating in the Bright Ideas Competition, it does provide opportunities for your career. So as mentioned, participants who meet the minimum competition requirements, they receive 5 points towards their EDAC certification. The Bright Ideas Competition runs from May until the following February, but as you'll see later in the presentation, the time frame for your research and report writing is about 6 months, followed by judging, and then teams to be invited to present at the EDCO conference in February of 2027. It's important to note that there are no travel requirements for the report segment of the competition. All touch-base meetings with Tyson, myself, and the EDCO team will be virtual, and any research and resource gathering for your reports can pretty well all be done electronically. And then if you are selected to attend the EDCO conference to present, travel will be required, but details on that piece. Next slide, please. So in order to be eligible to participate in the competition, you must be a member of EDCO. If you're not sure whether you or the organization that you work for are a member, please reach out to Stephanie or Laura to confirm. We'll make sure that you have their emails. We can drop them in the chat, just to clarify that piece. There's also a nominal fee to participate of $50. And we have a participant declaration that you'll be required to review and sign. Everything included in that declaration will be discussed here today, so there's no surprises. And then if you are selected to attend the EDCO conference in February, you will receive a complimentary registration for the day of your presentation. Then the winner of the Bright Ideas Competition is announced during the President's Dinner, which is on the final day of the conference, and you would be required to purchase a ticket and travel for that as well, should you attend. Next slide, please. I mentioned earlier that the competition runs from May through the following February. And so this slide shows the milestones and deliverables throughout the competition. There are essentially 3 key virtual meetings throughout where we bring the teams together for touch bases and to provide information and do a temperature check on how the competition is going. The first meeting, which will happen mid-May, will provide all the details of the competition, reiterate the expectations, and at that point, you'll be given your teams so that you can begin to connect and discuss potential topics. And this gets the competition up and running. The second milestone is a short proposal on your topic and your research report. And the expectation here is that you've fleshed out your idea, and provide that to the committee for review and feedback. Submissions are due mid-June, and then we bring everybody back together again for a virtual meeting just to give constructive feedback on that piece. The third milestone you'll see is a short progress report submitted in late September. It's about 2/3 of the way through the competition. So again, you're getting feedback direct from the committee at that time. And we'll talk about mentorship as well, but there's some elements of that throughout the competition that Tyson will share as we go through. Final reports are then due at the beginning of November, and go to a panel of adjudicators for scoring. And then the top 3 teams from the competition will be invited to the EDCO conference. And we'll discuss this in a bit more detail as we go through the presentation. Next slide, please. So the teams are coordinated by the Bright Ideas Committee and are put together at random unless there is a specific request made by participants to be teamed up with others. Each team is responsible for selecting their own topic. It's only one topic per team. And the Bright Ideas Committee is always available to discuss ideas and help hone topics as needed or make recommendations based on industry trends. I'm now going to pass it over to Tyson to go in a bit more detail on the expectations.
Thanks, Julia. Appreciate it. And I should note for the as we as a committee look to kind of create the team space of those as registers, as Julia mentioned, we'll be definitely looking at if individuals indicate a preference as they look to apply or register, and we also want to ensure that there's representation in the groups. And what I mean by that is we want to ensure that, say, if you're from an urban center or from a city, you have the opportunity to work from someone from a rural area, or if you're from Southern Ontario, you have the opportunity to work from someone from Northern Ontario. So if you don't kind of pre-select, we would look to see to ensure that we kind of have good representation shown in each of the groups that are participating. In terms of the topic selection, so in the past, topics were assigned. We've now moved where participant groups have the opportunity to choose a topic of their choosing. However, we do have some kind of guardrails, if you will, or what kind of topics we would like to see. And again, this ensures that the projects, the proposals, the bright ideas that are being worked on are of relevancy to economic developers in Ontario, as well as relevance to topics that we are currently either facing or we know we'll be facing in the future. So really, your ideas or the topics should be new and upcoming in Ontario. There shouldn't already be a clear industry best practice already developed. So we're not really looking for these projects to be best practice reviews or literature reviews, excuse me. We are looking for projects that are trying to tackle problems that municipalities are currently facing, and there isn't a defined solution or approach. The topic should touch on an all or a high number of municipalities in the province, and what we mean by that is the challenge or the issue that you're looking to solve or face or address. The majority of municipalities in Ontario should be dealing with that challenge, and as well as we want to ensure that these topics result in either innovative solutions or move towards an innovative solution. We've included some links here, and again, we'll look to share a recording of this presentation as well to everyone who joined. There's a link here that you can take a look at some of the past examples of projects that have been done. So last year ended up being the winner was the Interprovincial Export Circle. So that came right on the heels of the tariff challenges with the United States. We also had projects related to AI in public sector, how AI is used by economic development organizations to advance their work, public mobile robots, housing readiness, as well as entrepreneurships for older adults as well as millennials. So we also want to ensure that if you do register, which we absolutely encourage everyone here joining to just ensure when you're talking with your groups that you do review the past reports or the past proposals that have been part of this competition to ensure that you're not duplicating efforts or as well not providing a topic that we as the committee would decline just because it has been done in previous years. And as Julia mentioned, we are looking for, once topics are selected and approved, one of those deliverables is a short proposal document. So again, we're trying to limit the amount of work that's required beyond the actual deliverable, which is the project or the report, which we'll get to in a bit. So this proposal document should be less than 1,000 words. And again, we will look to, as we've done in the past, provide teams examples of project proposals that have been done in the past. They will be redacted, of course, just to ensure that the template, if you will, or the structure of the proposal is what's being shared versus the content. So in that proposal, we want to ensure that there's a clear definition of the problem that you'll be looking to tackle, propose methodology on how your group will aim to tackle the issue, That includes things as, are you looking to do any consultation with the EDCO membership? Have you started to identify maybe a preliminary stakeholder list of leaders in that space that you will need to do any outreach on? Define a work plan and a timeline, including established meeting dates with your group and your mentor, and something we'll get into a bit later with the mentorship. And again, we are not requiring that you have weekly or monthly meetings with your team. However, we encourage that regular or scheduled meetings are established with you and your group to ensure that progress is being made and that you're participating fully with your team members. We also want just a brief justification on why this topic is relevant to economic development, how it will help solve specific issues. So whether that's an emerging issue, maybe it's something that happened in the news, maybe there's a specific case examples as to this challenge being impacted or being seen in other communities. So again, we're not looking for something too cumbersome, just enough that gives us as a committee the confidence that you as a group have a topic, you have a clear plan, or at least you have demonstrated that you know how you're going to approach this topic and deliver a reports by November. So Julia mentioned went over the timeline. So this is a bit more of some context as to required meetings as well as those those updates. And as Julia mentioned, everything is virtual except for those attending EDCO in person for their final presentations, those 3 teams that are selected. So the kickoff meeting will be virtual. This meeting will include the announcement of the teams, provide an overview of the competition timeline and the evaluation criteria. The project proposal check-in will be virtual as well. Teams will be providing a short proposal document, again, less than 1,000 words. We will then have a check-in meeting with the committee. That's an opportunity for the committee to provide any feedback on the proposal, maybe any suggestions as to organizations or people they should be speaking with or consulting with. Really, these are opportunities for the committee to provide advice, feedback to ensure that, again, at the end of the day, we want it to be difficult for the committee or for the judges, rather, to pick the final 3. We really want that. Ideally, the end goal is whether you're finalists or not, these proposals, these projects are going to be utilized as EDCO resources moving forward. So really, these check-in opportunities are great to provide feedback from the committee, as well as in this meeting for the project proposal, your mentors will be assigned, and I'll touch on that in a bit later. For the progress report, again, this is a short progress report where you'll then meet with the committee again to provide feedback, suggestions, also potentially any direction. Again, because our goal as a committee is to ensure that you as competitors, as teams, are producing the best possible research proposal or final deliverable possible. And again, teams qualifying for final judging will be required to attend the EDCO conference showcase and presence and dinner in person. So that would be the only in-person requirement, is if you are in fact a finalist. So for mentorship, I briefly touched on that. Each team will be assigned 1 to 2 mentors from the Bright Ideas Committee, and I think we might have some committee members here as well. So they will be available to provide you with guidance, feedback on your research questions, as well as act as a resource throughout the project timeline. So mentors will be assigned once topics are selected, and that assignment will happen at the June competition check-in meeting, or the first check-in meeting. So teams can reach out to their assigned mentors as see fit. Meetings with mentors are not mandatory. However, given our experience in the past, it is highly recommended that you do have regular touch points with your mentors. Whether or not you meet, that's up to you and the mentor, but I think having scheduled meetings or touch points would only serve your team well in terms of the valuable experience, especially with some of the mentors that we have available on the committee. And I know they've been very fruitful in helping guide teams to really ensure that their solution, their bright ideas, is concise. So for submission requirements and finalists, so that's all to say is essentially we're looking at 2 deliverables for all team members beyond the finalists. So the final deliverable is a 30-page maximum research report. That is where you're going to have your topic selection, and essentially your bright idea is going to cover that 30 pages. We do also require a 1-minute video pitch. Now, this video pitch has varied in the past. It doesn't necessarily have to be you and the team on camera with a very high budget production. We're looking for something very simple that really, in 1 minute in a video, what is your idea? Why is it a bright idea? Why is it useful? Why should municipalities consider your proposal in terms of their economic development activities? So this can be animation. It could be any variation. We're not going to be judging the video in terms of production value. We judge the video in terms of content and pitch. For those that are selected as finalists, the only other deliverable is just a presentation. You'll have 10 minutes to present to the EDCO conference your idea, along with the other 2 finalists as well. So that presentation essentially will be is where the audience scoring will come in. So the finalists selected in the preliminary judging, this will be the top 3 teams, will present at the EDCO conference. In addition to the preliminary judging round, so in addition to the judging that happens for your research report and video pitch, the finalists will also receive audience scoring based off of the presentation. So the winning team will be based off of the highest score between the preliminary judging of the research report as well as the audience score of your presentation at EDCO. So it's a combined score that we're looking at. Okay, so that's maybe a very quick overview of the Bright Ideas competition. I know I'll look to stop sharing my screen. That way we can open it up for questions. But again, really just want to emphasize that this is a really great opportunity to expand your knowledge, resources, as well as potentially contribute to an EDCO resource that will be utilized by professionals for decades to come. I know we've had instances of the past of winning teams and not even winning teams being able to submit their idea, their research to municipal world, being able to utilize it at other conferences or webinars or sessions. So it's definitely something that we've seen teams utilize their project beyond the life of the Bright Ideas competition, and it's been a really good springboard for some individuals to essentially expand their profile, if you will, based off of the research that they've done here. So I'll stop sharing my screen, and then I'm happy to open it up to any questions that anyone may have on the competition, past experience, really anything. Scott.
Hi, Tyson and the team. Thank you very much. I've got a few different questions. So just to clarify, if you were to make the finalist, you get a free ticket to that day and are required to attend the President's Dinner, but you are not given a ticket to the President's Dinner. You'd have to pay for that yourself, is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay. What are the average sizes of the teams? Myself and I know another colleague that I work with were looking at kind of working together. So you answered one of my questions is whether we can request working in that situation. But then what are the sizes total, I guess, is my question.
No, good question, Scott. So yes, absolutely. If you can definitely request to be joined with another individual, and very rarely do we deny those requests. And to answer your other question, we look to at least have 3 as part of a team. We found that that's been beneficial because, of course, things may occur in terms of life, and there's extraordinary circumstances that may happen. And we found at least with 3, if something happens, there's still a team of 2 versus we just don't. We want to ensure that should an extraordinary circumstance happens, that there's not just one individual left on a team doing the project. So we would look to have at least 3 members of the team, Scott.
Cool. And then I just want to clarify what is classified as like project completion in order to get the 5 points. Is that just submitting the research, or do you have to be one of the 3 finalists?
Excellent question. No, that's great. So absolutely. For those to receive the 5 points, you do not need to be a finalist. You just need to submit the final requirements, which is the 30-page research report, as well as the 1-minute video pitch. Now, again, as part of the participant declaration, we want to ensure that people are also actively participating in the competition.
Yeah.
So that also forms a part of it, but unless there is an issue that's raised by an individual or the team, as long as you finish the research report and submit the video pitch, regardless of being a finalist, you're awarded the 5 points and you've effectively competed in the competition.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Awesome. No, thanks, God. Appreciate it. Anyone else have any other questions or comments? No, and again, if you don't have anything now, but maybe something comes up today or tomorrow, don't hesitate to reach out to Julia or I. I know when we send out the recording and the presentation, I'll make sure that our email addresses, our contact are also included. So don't hesitate to reach out if you're thinking of registering and have a question. Don't hesitate to reach out, and we're happy to chat further or answer anything that you may have before registering as well.
Tyson, if I could jump in, one thing we didn't talk about in our presentation, just a reminder that applications for Bright Ideas are open until Friday, April 24th. So if you are thinking of applying, you have until the end of this week to put that in before the applications close.
No, great. Thanks for that point, Julia. We should have mentioned that in the slides. All good. But definitely, yeah, end of Friday this week. So definitely, Scott, go ahead.
Yeah. Can you give us a ballpark approximately how many teams normally compete in this system? I know only 3 go on, but like, how many do you normally get? Like,
no, great question. So we typically want at least 3 teams to compete. That way we have, but we've had in the past, we've had a minimum of 3 teams compete. We've had up to 5 or 6 teams compete in other years. So it does vary year to year, but we have had up to 6 teams in past years, from my understanding.
okay, thank you.
And maybe I should add, as part of that, we would ensure that should a team pick the same topic as someone else, there are ways that we will be able to mediate to ensure that there isn't the same topic being chosen or a very similar topic being chosen by the same team or different teams rather. Okay. Last call for any questions. If not, please reach out to Julia or I before Friday, and we're happy to answer any questions that you may have before you register. Okay. Well,
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, I want to thank everyone for joining today. Again, really encourage you to register. Any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. But I think this is a great way to expand your network, your capabilities, as well as earn 5 points. And I know we've got some really good graduates from the program. So we encourage you to register and join the ranks of Julia and I.
Thanks, everyone. Please register.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.